a slide expert. Ooh. So, I'm expecting to have some sensational slides on here. Please give it up for Mr. Lee Jackson!
Thanks very much, Ivor. Go for it. Absolutely, absolutely. On an evening of PowerPoint slides, I thought I'd talk about PowerPoint, because it's never really talked about. Everyone uses it, but no one seems to do any training on it, and no one wants to talk about it. It's like the elephant in the room. This was voted the world's worst slide on the internet recently. It's actually the tactical information about how to win the war in Afghanistan. Hence, now we're retreating and getting out of there as quickly as possible, because no one understood anything it was about. But of course, actually illustrating with slides is nothing new. Me and Richard were in Harrogate Theatre, and we saw this on the wall. And it said in 1905, this guy was doing a talk illustrated by slides. But of course, he chose his slides very carefully because they were very expensive. And now what we do is we just blame our software when we actually have bad slides. You know, whether you use Keynote, PowerPoint or Prezi, we should never blame our software, because we are responsible as soon as we open up that program. So in the next few minutes, I just want to give you, if I can, great slides in a nutshell. 5 years of research that I've done to try and impact actually how slides are made. That's a really bad joke, I know that, by the way. Just 5 years of research to show you how slides can actually work. The first thing you should do is stop and ask yourself, does this talk actually need slides? I'm suggesting that tonight it does, because that's what you have to use. However, it's the first thing you should ever ask, and lots of death by PowerPoint would have been stopped if someone had asked that. The second thing to realise is that you are a designer. As soon as you open up the program, as soon as you write your first letter of text, that's it, you have become a designer. Which is why we just need to have little bits of information that will help us. And the biggest one for me is to think billboard, not document. I was on a train recently and I saw a guy who was cutting and pasting his Word document into his PowerPoint slides. There was 100 of these slides, and that's all he was doing. It's not. We should design it for the person near the back row. And if you can't see the content of the slide within 3 seconds, it's just too complicated. If you can't read it in 3 seconds, simplify, because that's really, really important. But use images. Now, it's one of my favourite images. I absolutely love this image. I mean, how they managed to get all these emotions into one photograph is just brilliant, isn't it? And it speaks so much more than just a few words. I just think it's absolutely lovely. But we must remember with pictures, we must get out of the 1990s. I still see this. If I ever see that, the two hands shaking in front of the globe one more time, someone's going to get hurt, right? Or clip art. If you see anyone in your office with clip art, just throw it in the bin. Emma showed this slide of a great uncle just a moment ago. And isn't it very powerful? Didn't even need any words. We just need to look at his eyes and see what's going on in his head. It's very powerful just to use a big image. You know, you might want a striking image like these base jumpers in Shanghai City. And the base jumper, you know, if you want this massive image, you think, wow, that's brilliant. You want to see the blue sky and everything. But what you want to do is be careful that you don't lose the impact by putting a template around it. Maybe your boss makes you use the corporate template, right? Maybe you have one you have to use. Then just tell them to chuff off, right? Because it ruins things, right? Because we have too much information, really. But of course, people talk about death by PowerPoint. They really do a lot. But I really believe that it's death by bullet point that's the problem. It's death by bullet point, because bullets kill people and they do presentations. Here's your typical bullet point slide, okay? Have a read of it. There you go. By number 7, I've forgotten my name, I want to go home and sit in a darkened room. And no one needs to do that, but people then repeat stuff. But then they think, I know what, I'll make them more interesting by making them long with transitions. No one's interested in that because our computer can all do the same thing. So don't dress up your bullet points with long transitions that no one's interested in. Because it's about cognitive load theory. This basically says that our brain can only hold so much information at the front. Which that means you can either read the slide or you can look and listen to me as a presenter. We can't do both. That's what the theory is. And even if you're doing complex information, Asda did this brilliantly. I don't work for Asda, right? But you can tell very quickly that they're cheaper than other brands. Our job as a presenter is to simplify, 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 and make complex things good. But of course, one of the reasons for death by bullet points, death by PowerPoint, is that people hide behind their slides. And actually what you should do is be completely you plus 25%. Because people want to see you, they don't want to see loads of bullet points.